I'm going to talk about something really dumb today, and shockingly, it was something really dumb that was said by Shaquille O'Neal. If you have the clip, go ahead and play it here, Rudy.
Are you comparing Wembanyama to Bobo?
Bobo is the first 7'4" guy that we've seen come out with the handle, shoot the threes. Yes, y'all acting like y'all ain't never seen a guy like that before. Bobo's the first guy. That's all I'm saying. And I stand on what I say. You can yell, bro. You can yell all you want. I stand on what I say.
I don't yell at you.
I'm standing on what I'm saying.
Okay, well you stand.
And Kenny and Ernie agrees with me. Bobo is the first guy. Bobo just don't play hard. That's all.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Also Rusty Bucket. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and drop a like on this video. It only takes 1 second. It makes a massive difference on how this video performs in the YouTube algorithm. So this argument has been made before by plenty of people that are not Shaquille O'Neal. However, him specifically saying it just plays into kind of a level of lazy discourse that Shaq regularly does play into, and it's something that I've talked about time and time again. I'm really not a big fan of Shaq as an analyst. He's a fun personality and all that, but basically anytime he tries to make like an actual basketball point, especially about the modern NBA, pretty rarely is it not pretty significantly flawed. And you know, fine enough, I guess. Like, he doesn't really pay that much attention or focus as much on the nuances of the modern game as happens with a lot of former players. But these are the type of things that I'm like, then why is this your job other than to collect a paycheck and hang out with your friends? I get why he does it, but I don't think it's the best representation and like what the best basketball media and the basketball media that a majority of people are getting. But with that said, this is not about Shaq so much as it is about this argument about Bol Bol versus Victor Wembanyama, because it's the kind of lazy analysis that is pretty damn prevalent. And I understand why, if you were just looking at things at the very, very, very surface level, you could come away with this take. But that's because you're looking at it at the very, very surface level. On the surface, Bol Bol, while not quite as impressive physically in terms of measurables as Victor Wembanyama is, not quite as tall, not quite as long, I don't think that they necessarily move all that different. The argument is, well, you take that guy, really tall, really long, pretty good mobility for somebody with that height and length, really skinny guy, not really all that much muscle on him, and he has the ability to shoot threes. He has the ability to be a weak side shot blocker. You know, he technically can check some of the boxes that Victor does in terms of things he is capable of pulling off on an NBA court. However, that's really just coming down to highlights, and it's not coming down to actually sitting there and watching Bol Bol in an NBA game and sitting there and watching Victor Wembanyama in an NBA game, because the argument is essentially it's the physical tools plus a jump shot, and basketball is never that simple. There are lots of players throughout history who maybe don't necessarily have the extremeness of Bol Bol's physical tools. However, they do have the physical tools to be far better and far more impactful players than they were. They just did not know how to apply those physical tools in a way that would actually help win basketball games, actually help make them an impactful player, help them actually be a star. Victor Wembanyama is very, very smart defensively. He knows where to be all the time. Now, I do understand that there is an inherent advantage at just being as big and long, pause, I have to say, as he is. However, those advantages are only advantages that you have to take advantage of your advantages, is the point that I'm getting at. And Bol Bol, while also someone who has a ton of those physical tools, not utilizing them in a way that's all that impactful. Now, as for Bol Bol specifically, what this seems to come from is a relative lack of interest in basketball in itself. There's been report time and time again that he's really not even remotely a hard worker and doesn't really seem to care all that much. He's more interested in the clout and all that. And I don't want to read into that too much, because At the end of the day, we don't know these people. However, you can definitely tell the difference in terms of how they actually play on the floor in who is here because they love the game and who is here because they're 7 feet tall. And in the case of Bol Bol, he is there because he is 7 feet tall. Victor Wembanyama is there because he's an excellent, ultra-skilled basketball player with a very, very high level of feel for the game, who is also 7 feet tall. Like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like that aspect of Wemby is not a very important thing, but I think the big difference here is if you go, okay, take this guy's skill set, take this guy's mind, and let's just say both of these players are 6'6". Who is the better player? I think it is unquestionably, not even close, it is Victor Wembanyama. And maybe I'm not even doing the best job of describing the differences. I know there are people smarter than me that can do it, but all you have to say is just like watch the footage, and not highlights, not clips. Watch like full quarters of games or like stretches in those quarters where they are playing. Look at how much more Victor Wembanyama is impacting the defensive end of the floor. Look at how much more he is moving and bringing a versatile skill set to the offense. Look at how much more he's not necessarily looking for his own offense, but looking for that of his teammates, and, running offense in a way that works for the team rather than himself individually. Now, unfortunately, in the case of the San Antonio Spurs, the pieces around Wemby right now are pretty freaking rough. Devin Vassell is great. Keldon Johnson's cool. Why are you running Jeremy Sohan at point guard? I really do not understand. That part is what's really puzzling me about the Spurs. So like a lot of the efforts that Wemby is making off the ball to create for his teammates through screens, diving at the right time, all of that, not necessarily helping, not necessarily working all that much, but he plays basketball in a team-oriented fashion, and one that you can especially expect to translate into a devastating level of impact on the offensive end once he has a little bit better personnel around him. At the end of the day, we are talking about a big man who does not have a point guard, and that makes it a lot more difficult to be an effective big man for sure, especially with Victor Wembanyama's skill set. Specifically, even if he can put the ball on the floor and all that, as Bol can, ostensibly as well. But there is a huge difference between the aesthetics of those skill sets and it looking like someone can do that at an NBA level versus them actually doing it at an NBA level. Now, offensively speaking, Victor Wembanyama has had a mixed bag through the first couple of games of the regular season. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend like he's just some wholly proven offensive guy. But at least on the defensive end, Victor has automatically been, from the get-go, one of the most impactful defenders in the NBA. And if Bol had displayed even half of the defensive capability that Victor Wembanyama has, he would actually get minutes in the NBA. He would actually be in the rotation. And I realize that immediately spawns this argument of Bol hasn't been given the opportunity. First of all, that's not true. He has played very big stretches of NBA basketball, far more than Victor Wembanyama has to this point, and has not looked particularly impactful. The best he has looked was like in moments playing power forward for the Orlando Magic, and even the Orlando Magic said, yeah, we're good. We don't really need you. That's not a team that's, drowning in talent necessarily. And they're like, yeah, we're good on Bol. We'd rather have, Mo Wagner. Like, come on. Like, these people are on Twitter and they think that they know more than the multiple organizations that are saying, yeah, we're good on Bol. Again, there's a difference between looking like you can do something in a way that is impactful in the NBA and actually doing it. And Victor Wembanyama already on the defensive end is unquestionably doing that and has displayed more than enough tools on the offensive end that in the proper context, he will do that. Sure, there could be better circumstances for Bol. There's no doubt. There can always be better circumstances for players. But he's been given opportunity and failed to deliver on it a couple of times now, and I'm sick and tired of people acting like because he isn't playing 35 minutes a game on a team, that means he hasn't got an opportunity. He wasn't very good, and now he's riding Phoenix's bench for that reason. There's so many people that want to act like Bol is just like not real. Like, I don't, and I see so many people like talking about how glazed Victor Wembanyama is because people talk like 5-year-olds on the internet. And what do you want? If you're a basketball fan, if you like basketball and you like it in a way that is not like, it has to be hyper specific to how I like it, and it's just wherever the game takes you, that's what you're interested in. That's how I am personally. That's how my friends are. That's how the people that I enjoy consuming their NBA content are, is less these hyper specific ideas of what basketball is supposed to be, and rather just let's see where the game naturally takes itself. If you're interested in the game like that, then it only makes sense to be relentlessly fascinated by Victor Wembanyama, to be super interested in how his career goes. Like, that's just what happens when a generational prospect comes around. And I don't understand this need that people have to tear that player down just because people are hyped at their existence. How are you not hyped by the existence of Victor Wembanyama? This shit's so fucking cool. I don't get it. And I don't get it's not about bringing Bol up, by the way. Maybe for a select amount of people it is, but for most of them, it's like, man, Victor Wembanyama ain't shit. Bol can do all that. And it's just not fucking true. It just isn't. If it was true, Bol would be in a rotation right now, because people that know way better than you do are the ones making that decision, and they're deciding, yeah, this guy ain't it. Anyways, that's it. Shout out to Rudy for editing this video, and goodbye.